Drafting the Magic features the thoughts and opinions expressed by Christian Ilton, Eric Pesolano, and today's guest, and do not in any way reflect the views or opinions of the Walt Disney Company or any of its subsidiaries.
All right, Christian, I got to keep things going here. Got a little bit of a win streak as we get back into the show, so I can't let myself down. This is the fate of the known world is on the line here in our show today.
You know, it might be just because this is once again a visit to our favorite theme park, and we'll see if our guest shares that love for us in just a bit. Or not for us, but for the park, I guess, in just a bit. But we're going back to Epcot, Eric, and we're eating because it's been so long since we've done these shows. We said, shoot, we need to do a food episode, and we need to do it at our favorite spot. We're doing food at Epcot, specifically the quick service restaurants, so those not so dining options, or I guess not so sit down at a table dining, and even the outdoor vending. Any of those are options here, but boy, if you haven't taken time to go to Epcot and snack around the world, drink around the world, all the different options, and there are a couple of things in Future World, as we used to know it as, but now it's of course changing. There are a couple of things that are technically options. They're probably not going to get chosen.
Yeah, spoiler alert off the top, but you're probably right. Look, food episodes are very difficult, and the reason is I have no idea what the judge's taste is, literally. So, we can pick our favorites all day, which usually in food episodes we have to go that way, because why are you going to pick something you don't like? You and I were having a discussion before we started recording this about a place you don't like, and it's not on my list either, so we won't spoil it, but I mean, you just don't know what they're going to like. And this is more of a crapshoot than any other episode is. Attractions, you figure stuff out, last week with the animatronics, everybody knows the well-known ones. But man, there's no such thing as this restaurant's better than this one. Or in this case, quick service or outdoor vending, or even special events, because those count too as outdoor vending. So this is going to be an interesting episode. I am not a particular eater as far as actual items. I'm a human garbage disposal, so that makes things even more difficult for me to select.
Now, Eric, you mentioned events are going to count. So I guess the Food and Wine Festival, the Arts Festival. Before we jump into it, maybe this is an advantage, maybe not. What events have you been to that you can even talk about on that?
Well, if I tell you, that'll kind of spoil my strategy.
I know. All right. I was working on it. It's fine. It was just trying to create kind conversation and be a friend and absolutely sabotage you. But
after the draft, I will tell you which events I have been to and which ones I have not.
I tried. Okay. Well, we are very excited for the show today. It's good to be back. We've been reeling in our animatronics episode, but finally, bring your plates. I know you. What you mean? Not you. You won.
Yeah, I'm not reeling. You're reeling.
Right. Well, we've been enjoying the fact that we're back. Then fine. Regardless, we are back to talk food today, and we're really excited, Eric, to have with us today Lizzie Twacthman. We know her through Instagram. If you look her up, it's the Lizzie T. Lizzie, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you guys. I'm so excited to be on with you. I feel like it's a long time coming.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on as well. It has been a long time coming for us, 2 years in the making, as it were. But we're super excited to have you on. Before we start the draft, just tell us a little bit about, obviously your Instagram account is going crazy with the Lizzie T, but tell us just a little bit about the love for Disney you've got.
Yeah, I was like, when I first moved home, I'm a Disney kid at heart. I grew up, in the Disney Renaissance. The Wonderful World of Disney was on when I was a kid. I have many VHS tapes of The Wonderful World of Disney. It was like my favorite hour, or however long it was back then. So I'm definitely a Disney kid at heart. When I first moved home from New York, I was kind of looking for a place with people and somewhere to make friends. And I started going to Disney again as an adult, and it's been wonderful. I've met so many of my closest friends through Instagram, which I know sounds shady, but it's not. As long as you meet in a public place and you trust yourself and you do some gentle vetting first, it's very safe. And I've met some of my closest friends, and I'm meeting one of them tomorrow for May the 4th. And yeah, it's like one of my top happy places. I love Hollywood Studios is my favorite park, but lately I've just been wanting to go like to Epcot at like 5 p.m. and like walk a couple miles, have my favorite cider, live my best life. So that's like my speed lately at Disney has been a lot of Epcot, especially because Guardians, the new ride, is the best ride currently on Disney property, the best roller coaster currently on Disney property.
And if we did a show about it right now, neither Christian nor I would be able to select it because we haven't been out there yet. But we need to make a trip out there because I agree. That speed you talk about, just kind of cruising around, eating and drinking,
so
that's
nice.
That's why it's my favorite park out there.
The only problem I have with her definition of what she wants to do at 5 o'clock is that she stopped after one cider. There's
no, it's usually
that needs to be included.
It's usually more than one, but I try to be conservative.
It's a family show, Ilton.
Fair enough.
Well, if you guys come out, we should roll. We should totally like have a little loop, have a couple ciders.
Done.
A couple. Again, a couple. It's not. Anyway, we're just going to move on. So today we are excited about our draft. It is going to be our favorite location of Epcot, the quick service restaurants, and the outdoor vending options, including the festivals. And Eric, we do have two big rules once again for this episode. The first rule is that we have to have experienced it. But our second rule makes things a little bit complicated, Eric.
It does make things complicated, and luckily, the way I have this set up, this thing was already going to be part of my list. Hopefully, I'm able to get it. We have to take something that is primarily a dessert location within the first 3 picks. So no cheating, Christian, like I tried to do last week, and it didn't work out for me.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that. I don't know. Can I take a place? I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out. But hey, let's get to the draft. We're drafting the Magic here in episode 4 of our second season, and we are doing Epcot outdoor vending plus quick service restaurants and all the festivals. And I am so excited that I get the first pick. I am not going to a dessert place. I'm taking something that I completely forgot about on one of our episodes. Eric's already showing me his phone because he knows where I'm going. I got to go to the Yorkshire County Fish Shop, the greatest fish and chips I could grab, especially when I'm in Walt Disney World. It just is fantastic, and it might not necessarily be my favorite spot in World Showcase, but oh my gosh, Lizzie, I love me some fish and chips.
Oh, it's one of my very, very favorites. It's so good, and it's right next to the Rose and Crown, so I can go in and get my cider. Ciders, like 5 at once, and then I leave.
There we go. All right, that's better. All right, Ilton, nice pick.
Thank you.
Out of the gate. Now, and we talked a little bit about this before we started recording. I have not gone to a ton of these locations. Do I think this could wind up just as bad as our parades episode a while ago? I definitely think that I'm on the cusp of that, so this should be fun.
I'm not proud of you, but you're going to have some homework next time you go to Epcot. Anyway, go to your first pick.
I eat a lot of table service restaurants at Epcot, not so much the outdoor vending and quick service restaurants, but I'm going to try to make this work because I have about 6 or 7 things on my list here, and you just took one of them. So I am living on thin ice. But I find this ironic that I'm going to go here for my first pick because we have had a debate many times about where you start when you go to Epcot. Do you go clockwise or counterclockwise? And you, my friend, are a counterclockwise person. Or no, you're a clockwise person.
I'm a clockwise. How dare you?
Person. I'm a counterclockwise person. I just forgot how the clock works. Leave me alone. We haven't done a show in a long time. So I'm going to go away from where I usually start, and I'm taking La Cantina de San Angel. Look, the empanadas and the margaritas, plural, are just absolutely wonderful there. And I know Illuminations isn't around anymore, but, you know, we used to grab the empanadas and the margaritas, hang out on the little dock over there under the gazebo and watch the show. So for more reasons than just the food, but the location itself, I'm taking La Cantina de San Angel for my number 1 pick.
That's a really good pick, and it might have been the one that I already had teed up as my next pick. So here we go into the draft and taking each other's picks. I love it. Lizzie, what do you think of La Cantina de San Angel? As many times as I can botch that name. What do you think about it?
I mean, another one of my very favorites. Although you silly little West Coast people, we don't say that. We say Canada or Mexico, clockwise or counterclockwise.
Just in my defense,
It's
I've never
Canada
said clockwise.
or Mexico.
And Mexico's always the right answer.
And Mexico is the right answer. It's literally like a red flag if you go to Canada first.
Well,
So,
I'll meet you guys in the American Adventure then.
Yeah.
I guess that's
we'll
just how
see you
it's gonna
there.
have to be.
Walking red flag. You better bring the drinks.
I'll
Oh,
go by
seriously.
myself.
I will say we will see you there, and we will be a lot happier than you are by the time
We'll
we
be
get together.
so happy because Mexico's better.
Yeah, I just need
So,
three
yes,
three
very
drinks in
top.
Mexico.
Very top contender. They also have that corn. The corn is one of my
Mhm.
favorites.
Very
It's an
good.
easy, quick little, but it's so good.
I was gonna say we should specify that this isn't an alcohol show. There's food that we're talking about.
Not anymore.
But a very good pick going to Mexico with your second pick, or I'm sorry, your first pick, the second overall pick, Erik. I would say a very good first round. And that leads me to my second pick. And I already, like I said, I already have to do some adjusting because you did just take what I had planned on going second. So I'm gonna take, this is a little bit of a different take for me, but I still think it's delicious. And whether it might be your favorite place in your home country or not, Erik, I love going over to Via Napoli Pizza de Al Taglio. We really shouldn't have done foreign stuff. It's really just an egg on my face. But that little window where I can grab me a slice of pizza in Italy, I think it's clutch, especially depending on how much you've had to drink to get to that point. You need some bread in you. Give me the pizza over in Italy on the little to-go station. I'm all right with it. I do like going to the restaurant, but a to-go station, not bad either.
Lizzie, what do you think about Via Napoli? I tend to enjoy that place. How about you?
Yeah, that's not one I hit on the reg, but it is a very, very good. It's like I forget it's there because it's pizza. It's like pizza's forever, and it's just wherever you are, there's pizza, probably. That's also the New Yorker in me. So it's just not something I regularly go to, but you know what? In a pinch, you're like pizza. It's always there for you. And at Epcot, it's no different.
And that's on pace for me and one of my picks, and the judge going, yeah, I basically forget it's there. It's fine. It's fine. Erik, but it's good pizza. I mean, it's good.
It's good pizza. It is
Good pizza.
And that may be the widest drop off from wonderful selection to not as wonderful selection as we've ever seen here on the show. And I think you could have taken it a lot later.
I probably could have, but I'm here.
I know.
I'm living my best life.
My last four picks, and I honestly don't think you're going to take any one of them. So I'm going to take the most common of my four picks. I'm not saying it's common. I'm saying it's the most common of my last four picks because I love this place and it's hidden back in a corner and people can find it. And also people have a hard time finding it, but it's one of, I'm going to satisfy the rule. I'm going dessert here. All right. This is going to be fun because again, I can't pronounce this.
It's amazing.
Something tells me we're going. Oh, I know where we're going.
I am not French by any means, by any stretch of the imagination. So count this as my formal upfront apology to everybody as I butcher the language. Les Boulangerie Patisserie. That is as close as I'm going to attempt it in the France Pavilion, of course, because every single time I go to Epcot, I'm getting a Napoleon out of that patisserie back there. So that is going to satisfy my dessert selection. And I would be lying if I said I don't buy them in bulk. Like I don't go up there and say, give me 5 of them. What I end up doing is I'll say, I'll have one. And then I leave. And then I come back later and I say, I'll have one. And then I'll be like, that's it. And then after the 6th or 7th one, I finally, after security tells me I have to leave, get my entire full filling of Napoleons. So I'm going with that location that I refuse to say again with my number 2 pick.
Hey, that's pretty good. On my list where I have it written, I just put in parentheses France pastries, because I wasn't even gonna take a shot at it. But Lizzie, what do you think of that place with the name that Erik just said?
Well, ding, ding, ding. The boulangerie is my favorite place to go of
Let's
all
go.
time.
Ooh.
I'm going to tell you what I get when I go there. I go for half a baguette warmed with butter,
Okay.
and a mimosa, and
Oh,
that is
yes.
like my happiest. Like, it's so cheap, but like there you cannot discount the magic of a like warmed French bread. And you just rip it and you put the butter on, and it is so good. And I get it probably most times I go. That's like my number one thing I always get. Like, where's Lizzie? Well, probably at the boulangerie. Like,
Oh.
100%.
I'm always looking for recommendations too, because obviously there's so many things you can get there, right? Like, you have to go back millions of times if you're ever gonna have a chance at eating everything. So I've not gone with that selection before, but I like the recommendation, so I know what I'm doing next time after I down 6 or 7 Napoleons.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
it's also
Oh my
good for
God.
like, if you're drinking around the world, a little
Yeah,
bread
soak it
never
up.
hurt
Yeah.
anybody. And it's like, it's not, I mean, as many festivals as I go to, I'm like, yeah, festival booth, find me at the boulangerie with my bread. Like, it's just like really satisfying and delicious, and like, I like the pain au chocolat. I like, there's a lot to like at the boulangerie, but like, that's my go-to. Like, anyone who knows me and knows to find me in 2 places. I'll tell the other one later if you don't say it, but that is one
Ooh.
of them.
Ooh,
For sure.
foreshadowing.
All right.
Foreshadowing.
Well, it sounds like I already lost the episode, so that's fun because
Oh, you
Mike-
got time. You
once
got
You have
again,
time.
plenty of time to bring it back around.
once again, Erik gets the judge's favorite pick at the boulangerie, which I just learned right now. That's how you're supposed to pronounce that word. I was going to be closer to bologna, so I'm glad that y'all did that before me. So that brings me to my next pick. We are going to round 3. And this place, in my opinion, probably could have been. Oh, wait, no, I can't go there. I have to go dessert. Oh my
Yep,
goodness.
it's pick 3, pal.
Oh my gosh, it's pick 3. So I am going to go to my dessert pick. That's totally scripted and not completely forgotten about until right now. But I am not going very far from Erik, actually. I'm staying in the same pavilion, going to L'Artisan des Glaces, aka on my list, France ice cream, because I'm not gonna shy away with it. I really don't. I'm not a pastries guy, and so when my family and everybody goes in and gets their big pastries and everything, I'm always like, "But what if I just want some ice cream?" And I find it in the France pavilion. So I think that might be the first time we've ever chosen the same pavilion in the same round. But there you go. I guess it's not the same round. That's
Nice.
anyway. We're fine.
It's a different
fine.
round, but yeah,
You know what I'm talking
back
about,
to
Erik.
and back picks. Yeah. No, nice job there, Ilton. Lizzie, your thoughts?
Yeah, that's also a good classic. It's just not something I usually go to. I just never go for ice
2 in a
cream.
row. 2 in a row.
I'm so sorry.
Trust
Yeah,
me, you still have a shot when you hear what I have left on my
Holy
list. But
smokes.
sorry, Lizzie, go ahead.
2 in a row
That's
where she's
okay.
like, nah.
I'm like, I've been there. I have been there. But it's not like a go-to. But it's it's really good ice cream versus like any other ice cream in the park. That's the best ice cream.
It's so good.
It's
I
so
remember
good.
I remember the last time we were in Disney World. My wife and I hadn't been married yet. So we were still in the fiance stage. And I swear, I think we walked back to the back of the park at the end of the night just to get ice cream from there. Like, we were like, and for anybody who's ever been to Epcot, when you're at Spaceship Earth, France is a walk. It is
Yes.
a walk to get there. But it was worth it. It's delicious. So that's going to be my dessert pick. It would not be that normally that high, but with our rule in place, I do need to take a dessert place in the top 3. And so there it is on my 3rd spot on my route. What about you, Erik? Where are you going for round 3?
All right, this is where I start to go off the rails.
Oh no.
And hopefully it works out for me. I have been to the International Food and Wine Festival one time. I go to Florida usually the same exact time every single year. And, a few years back, they extended it right? They started it a lot earlier, and it just happened to fall when I was going to be there, and we got excited. And specifically, this is only for one particular item, and I think it's that good, and I think it's that revered that, well, I'm hoping everyone agrees, especially Lizzie. That's really the only one I'm shooting for here with this one. Take me to Canada for the beer cheese soup.
Oh,
I got to stop by that pavilion now every time. I had it one time and it changed my life. And I held on to this in my back pocket until a little bit later than I wanted to. But thankfully, you needed to take a dessert, so I got away with it. But everybody told me, you got to try the beer cheese soup. You got to do it. And luckily, it fell in a time when I could. And speaking of falling, my knees almost buckled. So that is the reason I am going with the Canada Pavilion during the International Food and Wine Festival. Give me that beer cheese soup.
that's pretty good. Lizzie, what do you think?
Well, Food and Wine is my least favorite festival. I would rather avoid it forever.
We're back. We're back in the game.
It's so not my festival. My festival is Festival of the Arts forever. Second would be Flower and Garden. Then it would be Christmas. And then it would be a normal day at Epcot. And then it would be like 5 more slots, whatever, just put something else in there. Then it would be Food and Wine. Like,
all right, I'm still in the top 10. All right.
That is a good option if you're going Food and Wine, but like literally I will skip Food and Wine if I can help it, because it's so like just the lamest of the festivals to me. But that is a good option. It wouldn't be in my top 10 food options at Epcot overall.
Y'all hear that noise? That's hope. That's hope, which has been restored.
That's even in the playing field, baby.
Oh, it's about to become a lot more lopsided in a few minutes here.
I know, but you came out so strong. It's really hard to contend against Mexico and Boulangerie. Those are like my 2 go-tos. So we'll have to see. This is anybody's game.
All right. Wow. Well, I'm glad it's anybody's game, because that means I haven't been disqualified yet. And so I am going to go now in my 4th pick, which is nuts to me, because this could be my number 1. It is easily my favorite food group. I just need a brat when I'm walking around, and so I've got to go to Summerfest in Germany. The little window, I will happily sit at Beer Garden for 16 hours of the operating day. But if that's not an option and we're moving around, we're drinking, I've got to have a beer, but I've got to have a brat in my hand. So I'm going to Summerfest for my 4th pick. Lizzie, what do you think?
That's well, Germany is they have a really big face-sized pretzel that I do enjoy sometimes.
It's so good.
I've never met a bratwurst I didn't like. It's something I never go for. I don't think I've ever even had it at Epcot.
Lizzie was so excited to be on the show when we were talking earlier, and now she's like, what on earth
where do you two go when you come here? We gotta fix it. No,
what did I get myself into?
I guess we're the educated
tomorrow
ones.
I'm just gonna eat all of y'all's suggestions. That's just what has to happen, maybe.
I know this has turned into a recommendation party rather than somebody actually trying to win this thing.
Oh,
you gotta go do this.
Oh my!
You're like,
gosh.
have you heard of the pizza? How about the bratwurst?
Have you heard of the pizza?
And like, wow, I gotta consider these things now.
I'm dying. It's so good. Oh my gosh. All right, let's just move on. Move on, Eric. Have you ever had a bratwurst from there? I'm sure you liked it.
No, I actually haven't.
All right, well then,
But you're right. I would, and I will try one next time.
I'm digging my grave, guys. Digging it right here.
Or sit one of the Food and Wine Festival booths, but clearly I'm not going to mention that.
Yeah, don't
the rest of this time.
May as well just dig another hole.
Oh my god.
Oh, don't you worry. That's going to happen. Oh my gosh. My options, as I mentioned at the top of the show, are very limited. I'm going to get my last 2 picks. I'm very confident in that, but they are not going to help me in any way, shape, or form. So here we go. My next pick is beverage related. And Look, this is really going to be a shot in the dark here, but I'm going to try it anyway because I really liked it when I had it, and I'm like, I'm going to throw this in here only because I'm running out of selections,
do
and I
it.
don't. It's not even going to be anything you think. I bet you.
Oh, okay.
This is a location that doesn't even operate regularly anymore. It did the last time I was there, but now it's usually only open for festivals. But it is a location that used to be operable regularly, and I checked the item that I'm basing my selection on is still available. So we're good here. And I switched things up a little bit because I'm trying to score some points, and this may be a very shameful pick, and I'm okay with it. But the tangerine cider at Tangerine Cafe in Morocco, for me, is like, I'll go to the other pavilions and maybe grab something different every time, but when I go to Morocco, I'm getting that. And I'm hoping against all hope that the cider theme helps me here.
Well,
Please tell me it does.
I can say I've never had it, but Lizzie, what do you think of the tangerine cider?
I haven't had the tangerine, but they do have a strawberry in Morocco. It's not as good as my other favorite strawberry, but it is very good. And I love a cider, and I do love a lot of things in Morocco. So I could give you points for that one.
Don't listen
I'll
to
take any points I can get, especially with what I'm going to do to you here at the last pick. That's going to really upset a lot of people.
Evoking my love of cider is never a bad thing. Let's just say that.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
If you really like Morocco, don't listen to our World Showcase Pavilions episode where we each get 5 picks and one has to be left off.
And you can do the math.
Anyway, so wow, we're already in the final round. Final round. And this is one that I didn't always choose, especially on a quick service side. But I've begun doing that probably within the last 5 or 6 trips to Florida, where we go, and I like finger food. I like to be able to eat and walk at the same time, except for that one time I was at Epcot where you weren't allowed to eat and walk at the same time, which was a whole nother problem. But I am going to go to China and to Lotus Blossom Cafe. They've got some delicious egg rolls. The pot stickers are good. You can get the rice wine if you're feeling a little looking for a boozy taste to it, but it's different enough from the rest of World Showcase that I think it's a great quick service option, and that is why I'm going Lotus Blossom Cafe as my final pick. I can't believe it. I'm looking at the list of other things I've left off, but I think that spot is really good, and so I'm going with it with my 5th pick, Eric.
Yeah, I think you finished somewhat strong. Of course, I haven't asked Lizzie what she thinks yet, so that's obviously been the biggest wild card here.
And she's the one I'm trying to impress, so we'll see.
Right. Which I think, and I'm not trying to blow smoke here, but just the sheer difficulty of this particular draft is probably why she's the best judge for this particular episode. So
yes,
thank you for that.
And you picked a subject I know a lot about because I eat at Epcot all the freaking time. I will say that's a ding, ding, ding for Lizzie because I love going to Lotus House. I'm so basic. I get like side of steamed rice and sometimes I'll do orange chicken. But like, what I love about foods like that is like when I'm like going around the world, I need food like rice or bread to balance when I'm having so many ciders.
100%.
That is one of my go-to places. I love something that's just quick, like pretty cheap. I can sit and eat some rice, store up my senses for more alcoholic beverages, and then continue on my way around the world. So I love Lotus House for that reason.
I'm just saying, I still feel like I am so far behind the 8 ball on this.
I don't think you are
but
at all.
That gave me at least a little bit of smoke of hope.
You're going to be fine.
I'll take it, I guess. Dude, she literally was like, "Nah, I don't go there." Like, I don't know. Although yours, she was like, "I hate food and wine." So that was pretty funny too. We'll see how you finish this draft up, Eric. We're already at the final pick.
Yeah, we are. And this
everything
is why,
hinges on this.
Yeah, and this is not going to go well for me. So I'm excited. I had a winning streak that I was trying to keep alive, but well, you know what? That's unfair. I don't know what she's gonna decide in the end.
It's
So
true.
I will keep things up on the positive, which is very out of character for me. So I will do that. My last pick, because I'm required to, because I haven't eaten at a ton of quick service restaurants and even outdoor vending locations or special events for that matter. So I am legally required by the rules of this show to be forced to select something else from the Food and Wine Festival because I'm not eligible to pick anything else, which tells you that I am a man of integrity and I know that I should follow the rules and I will. I have to decide between two pavilions, two different countries, neither one of which is a year-round pavilion. So this is specifically for the Food and Wine Festival, which should put another nail in my coffin here. But I'm going to go to, which is one of my favorite seafood items of all time. And this particular pavilion has made this dish differently over the years of the International Food and Wine Festival. And the one time I had it, it was actually shrimp and grits. It wasn't exactly grits, but it was something like that, and it came from the Australia booth at the Food and Wine Festival. So I am going with Australia. I'm going down under, and hopefully not on this podcast. But we'll find that out in a little bit. Really, it's just all hinging on whether or not Lizzie likes shrimp. I really think that's all.
All right, Lizzie, what do you think of the Australia Pavilion whenever Food and Wine is there? And you're not just completely avoiding the area.
I do like shrimp. Can definitely say I've never had that option, and it literally Food and Wine is like
there's nothing I can do.
Like if it's Food and Wine, I'm like, find me in the boulangerie with my bread or in the Lotus with my rice. Like
find me in all the normal places anyway.
Yes, I actually, that's like how I am with most of the festivals. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I find me in my normal spots. So that is something I have never had.
Yeah, hey. I figured as much. Let me ask you this. So yeah. I know you don't like the Food and Wine Festival all terribly much, but have you tried anything from like all the booths? Like, did you give it a once over just to see, and then it was like, oh, that's it?
Yes, back in the day when I used to go, like I would go and do the festival all season long, and this is when they used to have the stickers in the passports, which they got rid of because it's so costly for them to have stickers. Obviously, sarcasm. Right. It really upset me. I was like, I may be the only person who ever used those freaking stickers, but I'm very upset by this because I loved keeping track of what I would eat throughout the festival, and I would use the stickers and I would make marks, and I would like, I would really use my passport. I would keep one all festival. And so every festival I would do that. And Food and Wine was no different. It's just Food and Wine. It's not that the food is bad. The vibe is so bad. It's like the worst vibe walking around the park. Like most people, so many drunk people, and like people don't know if like, do we bring our kids to this? Then they did, and they're like, oh, we shouldn't have. Like,
right.
Like,
well, she must have run into you and me, Eric.
Yeah. The reason I asked the question is because I did have one alternate that I would have picked Australia, but I didn't do it. So maybe I'll talk about that later and see if it would have helped.
Yeah, so I mean, I could probably name a lot more foods from Festival of the Arts or Flower and Garden just because I like those festivals more. But I have like multiple Food and Wine passports that I definitely like used back. I know 2018 was, I have that one, and I think I have 2017, whichever one that like. I could even picture the merchandise, but like, it's just like a bad vibe. I don't know why. It's just like the yuckiest vibe to walk around at Food and Wine. So I'm always like, yeah, let's go somewhere else.
Yeah, now that the draft is over, I can mention that that's the only festival I've ever been to. I haven't been out there for the other two, so I've yet to experience that. But 2017 was the last time I was there, and that's when we went, and that was when they had, I think Figment was a big centerpiece with all the merchandise and all that stuff.
Yeah, and then 2018 was, I think, the Ratatouille year.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I, if you've never had Festival of the Arts or Flower and Garden, then it's a fine festival. A festival is fun. Trying the foods. It's just a fun thing at Epcot that they have, and I'm glad they have extended the seasons. to be longer so that they're kind of like butting up against each other. So whenever at Epcot, there's always a festival now. But why not let Festival of the Arts be a longer festival? It's so disappointing because it's like a blip on the radar and it's the best one. Like sushi donut is like my favorite item forever in Japan. That's one of my very favorite items from a festival. Yeah, so I like it's just if I had to choose one, it would never be.
Right. No, that makes sense. I mean, I think I had the best time just because I had the dining plan back then and all those snack credits counted. I could use them at every single kiosk.
Yeah, that's like elite. That's a nice option.
Right.
So good. All right, Lizzie. So before we get to judging and you telling us which one of us lost, I don't think either of us won. Honestly.
That's true. It's who lost the least.
One of us lost more. So we'll get to that in a second. But before we do that, off the top of your head, are there any quick service locations or outdoor vending spots that we missed that you think should have been on one of our lists?
So if we're talking ciders, then I would go to America to the Fife and Drum, is it? They have a strawberry cider that is the best. Like, it's the most refreshing, happiest drink of all time. They have other good stuff too, but they have the cider it's like the boulangerie or the cider. Those are my two things. So my office, quote unquote, is in the American Pavilion, right before you get into Voices of Liberty. That's my office. Everyone knows they can find me in my office.
Wow.
So I will get my baguette and my butter, go and get my cider, and then go set up shop in my office right in the lobby of the American Pavilion. And that everyone knows that's where to find me. And then the other quick service food I would say is the poutine, before you get to Canada, at the refreshment port. They change it up for the festivals. There's always a different poutine there. And I never really cared about poutine until they did the brisket. They have a brisket poutine. I think that one is during Food and Wine, to be fair. But they change it up all the time. And I love getting that and walking around and eating that. And I never was a poutine fan till that. So that's another one that's like super random, but I love that.
The Canadian Pavilion introduces us to poutine, and we all love it after that. Or the area
it's funny because it's like the refreshment port.
Yeah,
so
it's not Canada.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it belongs in like every festival. I'm like, why don't they have a poutine there? It's Canada, but like it's close enough. And so that one I always go to. And then the only other festival booth I would say that like I dream about is when they had the Kahlua hot dogs with the pineapple chutney.
Whoa.
Like I dream about that hot dog. And I think it was Flower and Garden, and it's never been back. And it was like a key lime wine and there was a pineapple wine or a key lime wine and the Kahlua pineapple chutney hot dog. Like I want that forever. I would get like 3.
As the resident hot dog connoisseur on this show, I've got to start seeing if I can get in contact with people out there and tell them to bring it back. That sounds incredible.
It was it was a little spicy, but it was like the pineapple chutney was the perfect combination with a little bit of spice. It was like one of the best things I've ever had. The sushi donut is like fun and delicious. It's just basic sushi, but it's like really fresh, delicious sushi. This is like, I've never had these flavors together and it makes me so happy. So it was a very different level.
Yeah, it's, oh my gosh, I'm so hungry after this entire episode. Erik, I think we just need to skip ahead to the part where you read down the lists and then she chooses that you're the not most loser in this episode. I don't know. Erik, run down the lists.
We'll find out. By the way, read is going to be a loose term here over the next 30 seconds. All right. For my 5 picks in order, I went La Cantina de San Angel in the Mexico Pavilion, Les Eyes Boulangerie Patisserie in the France Pavilion. In Canada, I had to go for that beer cheese soup during the Food and Wine Festival. Tangerine Cafe's Tangerine Cider was my number 4 pick. And any of the shrimp dishes over the years from the Australia Pavilion or the Australia kiosk during the Food and Wine Festival. For Christian, in order, his 5 picks, he went Yorkshire County Fish Shop, Via Napoli, L'Artisan des Glaces, Summerfest, and the Lotus Blossom Cafe. So now that we know our picks, we're going to turn it over to Lizzie for final judgment. Who wins this episode of Drafting the Magic?
You know what? It is more balanced than you think it is because I love the fish and chips and I love Lotus House and I love Mexico and I love France. And so you each pick two. It's like 2 and 2. So it's very difficult to choose because I really want to dock Erik for picking stupid food and wine so much.
Of course.
Just on principle. Like, I just feel like that is like on principle. I feel like I should. But you pick the Boulangerie and Mexico are like, those are the two places I live at those booths. So I think I have to give it to Erik just because those by default are the highest on my list. And even Lotus and fish and chips, I mean, they make the top 10 for sure. They might be like 6 and 7. But like it's Boulangerie and Mexico are like 1 and 3. So
I am in a stunned silence. That's why nobody heard me react at home or wherever you're listening from. I feel like this is a massive upset after what just transpired. Christian probably doesn't think so because he thought he was behind the whole time.
Well, I didn't think I was until she told me that. Oh, I forget it's there, and oh yeah, I don't really go and get
came
a
out strong with fish and chips, and I do. Fish and chips is a really good steady option. So it was tricky. Only I would have docked you more, but you picked my two of my favorites.
If we're just counting this season, granted, it's been a long season as far as the calendar goes. I am on a 4-episode losing streak just to kick off the year. And this hurts a little bit more than others, Lizzie. I'm going to be honest.
I'm so sorry.
I thought fish and chips is number one, was boom, drain it. But no, apparently it wasn't. And wow, I just, it is what it is. I'm glad you're honest and you pick your favorite list. But we're gonna have to go. This is some soul searching moment. Like, this is tough, Erik.
Now, before you do a redo of this episode one day, you must come for the other festivals because I think it would broaden your Epcot festival food horizon. Because when was the last time you came for festivals?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I know I've been there for one. I believe it was Food and Wine because I bought a bunch of merchandise at Food and Wine Festival, so it's got to have been that. But I don't know if I had been there for Flower and Garden or not. But regardless, I'm in a pit over here. This is.
I think what I was going to say is I think the food has gotten exponentially better at a lot of the festivals. And if you went in those 2015 to 2018 lazy hazy days of the festivals, it was just different than it is now. So I think like a lot more meatless options, Impossible Burger, just so many more considerations to needs and flavor and all that kind of stuff. So I just think there's a lot more to work with that you guys haven't necessarily experienced. So if you are coming with fresh hunger, then you might pick differently. So
I'm coming with disdain and the feel of defeat. All right, that's what I'll be coming with.
I tried to dock Erik a lot of points for that food and wine nonsense, but
I tried to lose. I tried to lose. I guess it just didn't work.
Gosh, well, look, all right, it is what it is. Erik is the winner. But Lizzie, before you go, tell the people where they can find you, a little bit about more what you do on Instagram and some of the cool stuff people are going to see pretty soon.
You can find me at the Lizzie T on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter if you're into that sort of thing, and Lemon8, which is a newer, sort of like a hybrid Pinterest Instagram platform run by TikTok, which is very cute. I like Lemon8 a lot. That's a new one, and that is my handle across the board. Tomorrow I will be celebrating May the 4th at Epcot with my friend Tina, who we were doing our Star Wars Flower and Garden Girls. So we will be flowered up. I'm doing a Padme bound. She's doing a Leia bound. That is what's happening lately. I don't know what's really happening on Instagram. I used to podcast a lot more. I'm working on a new podcast now. It won't be out for a while, but it's just me. And so that's new. So we'll see how the format goes and how it sort of pans out. But more information to come on that one. and I'll be on the West Coast soon. So
Hey,
yeah, hopefully I'll be at Disneyland in July, and yeah, that's what's going on with Lizzie.
Hey, that's pretty cool. I feel like, first off, doing a podcast on your own is bold. I'd still lose if I was just doing this on my own. I think that's the kind of rut I'm in. That's how I feel. But Erik gets another big W. And Lizzie, it was a real fun having you. Even if I learned that I don't know how to do World Showcase, it was
Stick with me,
fantastic.
kid. I'll show you things you never heard of before.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you had a blast.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was great.
Thanks, Lizzie. We'll talk to you soon. I got to be honest with you, Christian. I am still in a state of shock. That was, and this is just my opinion, maybe you share the same, the single worst draft we've ever had.
I didn't think it was that bad until she started telling us, man. She did not hold back. It reminded me of when we had Brady back when episode 2 debuted, and he was just kind of trash talking us for our picks. But boy, Lizzie did not hold back, and I love that. I love the fact
that's what we need.
Yes, judge is honest. But oh my gosh, man, I've gone back and looked at this list 10 times since we talked about this. I thought it was pretty good. I thought yours was pretty good, but for some reason it was a decision of who was the best of the worst, and I still lost. So here we are, 0-4 to kick off the new season, and I just this feels different than any other loss I've had, because I just realized that I was literally the worst of the two things she didn't like.
Yeah, and I think I learned some things from this draft myself. I'm realizing I think I picked too many things based on single items and not for the whole of the experience. So that kind of, I think, hurt me with the judge, but in the long run, obviously it worked out somehow. But I'm ashamed. It's not one of those wins that you feel great about, but you have to be honest and you take the dub and you shut your mouth and you move along. So I'll get better, coach's mentality. I'll find a way to get better and try to put together a better performance for the next time. But I'm taking the win. And
I was going to say, yeah, get out there and win again. What a tough coach. I mean, we both know we've had tough coaches in the past, but what a tough coach lesson of, hey, you won, do better next time. But like I said, meanwhile, I sit here 0-4 on the new season, and the next episode, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna go harder than I ever have at this thing, because I do not want to lose 5 in a row. I just can't do it. You didn't do it last year when we had the big streak. 4 was the longest that I had. I don't want to set a new record. Granted, it's only a 2-season show so far, but it's spanned over 3 years, and I don't want to set that new record.
And I'm also noticing that nobody has an advantage over topics, right? Like you would think there are some where, oh, Erik used to work in this area, or he frequents over there. He's got the advantage. Nope, that's an L for me. Or, you used to work in this area, or you frequent it more than I do, and then you end up losing. It's just, you just don't know. And I say this was the single worst draft, not trying to take away from the judge's performance, because I think that's exactly the thing. We don't know what to expect from a judge, and that berating that we just took, I think, was absolutely necessary, and we will definitely have Lizzie back, because we need that. I think that helps us grow as we move forward. We realize we messed up. We'll do better.
Well, and my
at least
club,
I'm guessing it was at least entertaining for the folks to listen to us get slammed.
I was going to say, my hate club that I have is going to go follow her like crazy now, because boy, does she have more fuel for that. It's going to happen. That's what makes this show great, is it is our opinions. And Erik, congratulations. You have officially won an Epcot episode. You finally did it. I remember how heartbroken you were after episode 3 of last season. So this year you finally made it up. In the 4th episode of this season, you won. Let's be honest, it was a World Showcase episode, basically part 2, just focusing on the food, basically. And you got a W.
Yeah, and I'll take it. I scratched and clawed my way, but yeah, Epcot is near and dear to my heart. So I'm glad I got it. I'm on the board in that category, so let's keep this train rolling. I don't think we're going to do an Epcot episode next time, but hey, down the road when I get another opportunity. But it's time to regroup. This is in the past. It's over. This is like one giant long series. It's a best of however many we do. Hopefully, when we wrap this up, it'll be an odd number, so that way somebody's guaranteed to win. But now it's time to move forward and get ready to go on the next topic.
I'm coming after it. I got to get a W next time. Can't go 0-5.